Once upon a time, in a small village nestled between rolling hills, there lived a wealthy man named Richard Harris. He was the wealthiest man in the entire region, owning vast tracts of land, several luxurious homes, and countless treasures. For 3 generations, the Harris family had been accumulating wealth, amassing riches beyond measure. Richard had everything that anyone could ever desire, except for one thing: peace of mind. Richard had only one son, William Harris, whom he doted on. Richard raised his son with the belief that wealth and material security would shield him from all hardship. "You will never know hunger, my son," Richard would often say. "I have provided everything for you: land, riches, and everything a man could need." Richard's greatest wish was for his son to never have to worry about the uncertainties of life. However, despite his immense wealth, Richard's mind was always consumed with one overwhelming fear: the fear of losing it all. He feared that his son would squander the family fortune, that thieves might steal everything from him, and he even feared that one day he might fall into poverty, even though such a thing seemed unimaginable. This constant anxiety grew over the years, and it began to take a toll on Richard's health. Despite eating well, sleeping enough, and living in comfort, he always felt uneasy. His mind was restless, constantly filled with worries about what might happen tomorrow or the day after. At night, he would lie awake, thinking about his unfinished business, unearned money, and possible dangers that lay ahead. His fears consumed him. One day, Richard was walking through his vast garden, seeking a moment of peace, but still unable to shake his troubling thoughts. As he walked, he happened upon an elderly man meditating under a large oak tree. The old man's calm and peaceful demeanor caught Richard's attention. There was a serene stillness about him that seemed to transcend everything around him. Richard approached the man and asked with a mixture of curiosity and frustration, "Sir, I am a man of great wealth, yet I never seem to find peace. I have everything I could want: land, money, and comfort, yet I am constantly troubled. Can you help me find peace of mind, the kind of peace that doesn't come from wealth?" The old man opened his eyes slowly and smiled gently. After a moment of silence, he replied, "You have everything, but you have forgotten one thing: the wealth of the heart. You have filled your life with material riches, but your heart is full of fear, anxiety, and the desire for more. True wealth is not in what you own but in how at peace you are with yourself." Richard was puzzled by the old man's words, but the man continued, "Meet me tomorrow, and I will show you something that may help you understand." The next morning, Richard returned to find the elderly man waiting by a peaceful lake. The man led Richard to a small wooden bucket and said, "Take this bucket and fill it with water from the lake. Continue to fill it until the bucket is full." Richard followed the old man's instructions and began scooping water into the bucket. However, no matter how much water he scooped, the bucket never seemed to get full. Water spilled out of the sides, and it became heavier and heavier as he kept trying to add more. Finally, Richard stopped and said, "Sir, the bucket is full. I can't add any more water. It just keeps spilling over." The old man looked at him with a knowing smile and said, "Just like this bucket, you have been trying to fill your heart with more and more wealth, more and more fears, more and more desires. Yet, the more you try to accumulate, the less peace you have. You cannot fill an already full vessel. To find true peace, you must empty your heart of worry and fear." Richard stood still, taking in the old man's words. Slowly, he began to understand. The more he focused on accumulating wealth and avoiding loss, the more restless he became. He had spent his life chasing after an illusion of security that was never truly attainable. The old man continued, "Live in the present, Richard. Stop worrying about the future. You can never truly own everything, and you can never predict what will happen tomorrow. What you can do, however, is to live fully today, be grateful for what you have now, and find peace in the moment." Richard, deeply moved by the old man's wisdom, realized that he had been living his life in fear of the future and the loss of his wealth, rather than appreciating the present moment. From that day on, he chose to live more mindfully, to appreciate the things that truly mattered, his family, his health, and the quiet moments of life. He stopped obsessing over the future and learned to be content with the blessings of the present. As the years passed, Richard's life transformed. He became more relaxed, his anxieties faded, and his health improved. No longer did he worry endlessly about losing his wealth, for he had learned that true peace comes not from material possessions but from a calm and content heart. The old man, having imparted his wisdom, disappeared as quietly as he had come, leaving Richard with the knowledge that the greatest wealth is the peace that resides within us. Richard's life became a testament to the lesson he had learned, that to live fully and happily, we must stop clinging to fear and embrace the beauty of the present. And so, Richard Harris lived the rest of his days content, knowing that his true fortune was not in his gold or land, but in the quiet peace that filled his heart.